Special thanks to all our patrons who support the show every single week. Patrons, you keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we're so grateful for all the support you give and the community that you've helped us to build. Not a patron yet? Join us today. Head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or buymeacoffee.com/runeatdrinkpod and subscribe for bonus content, social media shoutouts, and much more. Help support our show by using our Amazon affiliate link anytime you shop on Amazon for running gear, food, beverages, or anything else the little gray trucks might bring your way. Just use runeatdrink.net/Amazon anytime you shop. There's no additional cost. It's just one bonus click to help us keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Go to runeatdrink.net/Amazon. And we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Emily, part of the Runcation Nation, and you're listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Dana, it's time for another Runcation recap.
Yes, it is almost as if our guest heard my request and is granting my wish.
Oh, it's like an Aladdin reference that you made right there.
See what I did there?
I see what it is. And today we welcome back, after her fabulous Mystic Half recap, we could not pass up another opportunity to have Emily O'Keefe on the show from the Runcation Nation. Welcome to our show, Emily.
Welcome, Emily.
Did you hear the applause? No? Yeah,
No,
good.
not.
But it's okay. We'll insert it later. Just imagine that there is a stadium full of Runcation Nation members applauding you. Thank you for not being scared off and coming back to recap the Halloween races.
Out at not Walt Disney World, at Disneyland.
The OG Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about this on a previous episode. We'd had an experience the last time we went there.
And I feel like Emily heard us calling her when we did that.
Yeah. And I said, I'd love for somebody who ran that to come on the show.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Here we are. Yay.
Yeah, I heard you guys on the last episode. I listen pretty regularly.
Thank you.
Have a great podcast, so it's fun.
Yay.
If you would.
Yeah.
Kind of give those who might be new to the show a little bit of a primer. Tell them a little bit about yourself, your background, who you are, where you're from, what you're drinking in our chat today. If you're having anything, we're having Disney Star Wars themed coffee, Dark Side.
Nice.
Dark Side, thanks to Expedition Roasters and Eric Cantor, fabulous people over there. Been on the show before.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah.
I am not drinking coffee. I actually don't drink coffee, in fact.
That's okay.
And interview's over. No,
oh my gosh, Dina!
That's fair. No, I do drink tea, though, and I'm currently drinking the Harney and Sons Irish Breakfast blend.
Very nice.
Which is really delightful. And I'm actually using my brand new Run Disneyland race weekend mug.
Oh, yes.
Look at that fanciness. A little bit Halloween themed there with... It looks like coffin shapes and characters.
Oh gosh,
and a Batwing handle.
Yes, there's these characters. It's all these characters, and then Nightmare Before Christmas characters and all that hocus pocus
and you may, for those that are watching the video, you may notice that she's also wearing some of the swag as well. So she's fully decked out.
And I wore, because you talked about it last week on the episode, I wore the swag that Pure Creative Apparel designed for us for the welcome back or the return, not the inaugural, but the return of the Disneyland races that we went to in January. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I couldn't help it. Yeah.
That's a cute shirt too. Yeah.
I was inspired. And look, on the back, it says, what does it say? Best runcation ever.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you have the best runcation ever at the inaugural Halloween races at Disneyland in California?
Well, hold on. She's got to tell people who she is, her background,
Okay,
where
well, I'll
she's
save the
from, and all
question.
that
Okay,
first.
okay.
I mean, she's excited, so that's
Yes,
are.
I am excited.
yeah, it's fine. So I'm Emily. I've been a runner for about 7-8 years now. My first race ever was the inaugural Star Wars Dark Side 5K back in 2016. That was actually when I was a cast member as well. So I ran and then went right back to work right afterwards.
That
So
doesn't sound...
that was fun. I loved that job, so I had a good time there.
What did you do as a cast member?
I had an engineering internship.
Ooh.
It was really cool. No, I was under the project manager that handled all the road and parking lot maintenance across Disney property. So yeah, so my background, I'm a civil engineer too. So I get to kind of get the best of both worlds now, where I'm a engineer at my local ZOT, and then I'm also a travel advisor who does Disney vacations and all sorts of vacations.
And what is your... We can find you on Instagram as a travel agent.
That's probably the easiest way to find me.
Which we'll link to in the show notes.
Yes.
I know. I jumped the gun and I got so excited, and we're not a Disney podcast, a Run Disney podcast, but we're
Disney adjacent.
We're Disney adjacent, and that is Run Disney gave us the bug just like it gave you the bug in the 5K. We started when Wine and Dine was a relay race
At night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Back in the day, kids.
Yeah. Get off my lawn.
No. This was the inaugural, so it was the first time it was held. Would you say it is a must-do for the Runcation Nation?
I'd say it's very different and it's very fun. They did a really good job with all the theming, and the expo was good. All the in-park entertainment was great. It was a fun time. I'd go back.
Okay.
And so this race is officially called what? What's the name of this race?
Just the Halloween half marathon weekend.
Okay. The weekend itself has I see a 10K shirt on.
Yes.
And it has a half marathon as well. Did it have a 5K?
Yep. Yes, it did.
Okay.
It's called the Disneyland. Oh, it also had yoga? Sorry, I got distracted there for a moment. I mean, I know that they've been adding that here and there. Not to all of the race weekends, but to most of them, I think.
Select ones. I think they started out, but I think it's gaining popularity.
For Princess, they've got it. And and I saw it, I think, for Springtime Surprise too out there. But okay, so did you do the yoga? Did you do all of it?
I only got into the challenge, unfortunately, because we all know how crazy Run Disney race registration day is.
So you got in the 10K and the half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything else was already sold out.
And that's the Disneyland Halloween half marathon weekend, and it was the inaugural one. So.
I guess that's a great segue into one of our questions. If we could talk a little bit about your review and thoughts on the registration process for those that have never been through it. Our experience is that it's a registration process like no other.
I feel like that's true.
That's about the only way I can be positive about it. So I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
That is absolutely true. If you're not online by a certain time, then you're not getting in. And
for most Disney race weekends.
Yeah, for most Run Disney race weekends. Although lately I've seen a couple that have not sold out, which is interesting. Usually they sell it within an hour or two of registration opening.
And I've noticed it across the board for the shorter distances, yes. But for the challenge and like hanging out there right now in Springtime Surprise, because we've just had registration, I think the challenge is still open. And I want to say the 10 miler is still open as of this recording.
Wow. That is actually surprising.
But the shorter distances.
That is very surprising.
No. So what are your registration tips for for getting in there with that challenge the way that you did?
So I typically recommend getting onto Run Disney's site around like 9:30, 9:45. Make sure you have your login information ready to go because it's your normal Disney login. So the same login, which is nice. And then the second it hits 10 o'clock, it'll automatically redirect you into the virtual queue. And then it's just a waiting game.
Yeah. So it's not like
not a whole lot you can do about that.
It's not like back in the day when we started registration, where now there's a virtual queue and it tells you like you have 2 hours before you get in, or you have 10 minutes, or you have.
I don't know if this is any better. The old way was have as many screens open as possible with as many different web browsers as possible, logged in and refreshing and doing all of that stuff.
And I think people still do that.
I don't know that. I don't know what's better.
I don't know.
It depends, because like it randomly places you in the queue too. Like in line of when you got into the website, it's random. So, and I still do have all the browsers up and everything too.
So it's kind of like a lottery.
So you're still doing that. Okay.
So it's like a virtual lottery in a way, because it's random in the way that they put you in the queue. So it doesn't, and I agree with having multiple browsers and being in there like half an hour before, and it's 10 a.m. Typically it's 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Usually on a Tuesday morning. Yeah. That's pretty typical.
Yeah. Unless you're like one of the lucky ones. It's like Alan Young is in, Alan and Grace who have been on the show before, have been Club Run Disney, which is usually the week before.
Are you just wanting to get my blood pressure up talking about Club Run
sorry.
Disney?
Oh, don't.
No.
That's a sore spot for me.
I know.
Okay. It's not just me then.
Okay. We can't. It's not in our budget, I would say.
Well,
same.
It's
not a priority.
For those that are not familiar, Club Run Disney is a way for you to essentially buy your way into a race and bypass the queue, and you get special corral placement and all. Basically, if you want to throw money at it, you can guarantee that you're going to get in there. But it's
pretty
expensive, and that's on top of the fee. And Disney is a premium race. Let's be fair.
It is.
It's not cheap. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun, but it's not cheap.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like I'm being negative there, but
because it's a great time.
But anytime we talk about a Disney race, this comes up. Some of the difficulty in registration always comes up.
Yeah.
Club Run Disney and some discussion comes up, and generally the overall cost, because it is a premium race event. But they do, and we've been very complimentary of Disney as far as the event goes and the magic that they create. It is absolutely hard to beat.
And typically, like that challenge that you have, typically it's $400 and some, like $440.
Do you remember what it was?
I think it was $440 before taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that.
And then
the challenge.
And then the half is something like $260 itself, and then and there are kids races too if you want to make it a family affair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a friend who did their almost soon to be 2-year-old did they kids races.
And it was
the kids races are cute there.
And they are.
They do a good job with those.
And they're the least expensive. They're $40. Not that I can qualify by age or anything.
I actually checked online because I was curious. Run Disney's website, the Springtime Surprise 10-miler yoga challenge and the after party at Typhoon Lagoon is still available as of now.
Wow.
That is so surprising.
It's unexpected.
That's very surprising.
Mm-hmm. Because every other, what's the longer distances and then the yoga? I think the yoga is still fairly new to people.
Yeah, it is. It started pretty recently too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't available before COVID.
And you would see it at just a couple of the on-property resorts would do something like that. Now it's becoming part of the event, which
I like it at the castle, at Sleeping Beauty's castle out there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And you get like a yoga mat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think this year's Springtime Surprise, they did it in Hollywood Studios.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So they did it in front of the Chinese Theater.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, where Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is. Yeah, out there.
I saw a few people post up photos there, which is
I have not seen any of the social media for this yet.
I've seen some of it, like Carissa will post the race
Carissa
announcers.
was there this weekend.
Yeah. And she also put out there that she's re-signed with Run Disney, so she'll be announcing the new season, which is excellent because I think she and Fitz are our favorite race announcers.
They're very good.
Carissa Galloway.
I agree. They're wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And her and John Falke feed off each other really well.
Yeah.
And Riley Claremont. They're a great crew. I like that. I really like them a lot.
They have good chemistry, and that's important when you're getting up at 1 a.m. and you're getting there at 3:30, 4 a.m, and getting lined up.
So
and
early.
Yes.
And then having all that energy to keep the crowd going and runners awake. And they're a great crew. I like them.
So we've talked a little bit about the registration and the process a little bit, so that we've got some tips in there for some newbies who might be first time listeners or not just getting into the Running Drink podcast. And
sounds like if they want to experiment and try out their first Run Disney right now might be a good time to strike going over to the Run Disney website, because there are some still as of the time of this recording, Springtime Surprise still has openings.
If they're committed to longer distances or challenges, I would say they could try it. But Dana, you're bling driven.
I am 100% bling driven.
You immediately, when we started, talked about her mug, her tea mug, which could also hold coffee.
Could be a coffee mug.
And your shirt. Just liquid. Just hot liquid.
And it looks like a great shirt.
And it looks like a great 10K shirt. I like this.
But I'm curious, what about the medals?
Yeah.
I actually brought them. The 10K is probably my favorite one. They did a really good job with it.
And what was the theme? What was the theme for the 10K? Was
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion.
Oh, very cool.
Woo!
Okay.
How could you not go for that?
So they have the hitchhiking ghosts on the ribbon on the other side.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh.
Yeah. And
like a black, a turquoise, a blue theme kind of going through it.
Mm.
And then it glows in the dark too.
Does it? I was going to ask you that question.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
It's really cool. It glows in the dark. And then it has the door knocker. It actually has a little spiked ball on the end, and it's magnetic, so it doesn't clang all day.
Oh, that's
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite medal.
What a great nod to the race.
Instead of a spinner.
The ride. Yeah.
Instead of a spinner, it's got like the door knocker and everything. Oh my God. We missed that.
That's awesome.
Super fun. And then the half is, here's the half. You can see at the top here, it has a little stained glass kind of effect.
Yep.
Which you love.
I love the stained glass element there.
Yeah.
And then the
theme
characters were the Sanderson sisters, but it was Minnie, Clarabelle, and Daisy.
So that's like Hocus Pocus kind of situation for anybody who is not familiar with the characters there.
Yep. Yeah. And then the
challenge medal.
Yep.
Oh,
this is a spinner. Is it Chills and Thrills challenge?
Chills and Thrills.
This one's a spinner. So it has Jack on one side and Sally on the other.
Oh, that's really cool.
Christmas themed.
Hey, I just have to say, Janine in the Runcation Nation just celebrated a birthday, a big birthday that I won't name, like over the hill kind of birthday thing. And Jack and Sally and the whole Nightmare Before Christmas theme of that challenge, she, I think, would do whatever it takes to look at them, Jack and Sally on the ribbon.
Super cute.
Yeah.
And that color scheme on that ribbon's more black and purple, keeping with the movie color palette.
Yeah.
And then I finally earned my Coast to Coast Challenge medal.
Oh, the new one.
Congratulations.
This is the first time we've seen a version of the new Coast to Coast medals.
So it has two little spinners on it. One has the Disneyland castle and one has the Disney World castle on it. And they spin to see a running...
Oh, that is so cool. And it's a nod to some of the classic Disney, like going back to the 60s. Like
50s, 60s.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, look. California and Florida.
Yep.
Disneyland, Walt Disney World.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah, and it's got that blue and the yellow that is usually reminiscent of the coast, or has been in the past, reminiscent of the coast colors. Yeah. So you fell into the coffee mug merch. You purchased that. But did you like the other shirt? Since we're talking about the bling, did you like the other, the 10K you said was your favorite one. What about the challenge shirt and the half shirt?
They were really cute too. Honestly, I liked all of the shirts this year, which was really nice.
Comfortable.
And they're all pretty comfy too. They're all short sleeve dry fit.
Ah,
really nice.
That's very nice. Now, did you get an opportunity to go through and look at the finisher merch, and did any of that pique your interest?
Yeah.
I was a little bit more on a budget this time.
Understandable.
Because we're actually going to Greece in a few weeks. Whoops.
You could have a nice meal in Greece, or you could get a Disney shirt. Come on.
Or I could bring back a bottle of wine from Greece. I'm actually planning on getting a tattoo in Greece, and so is my husband.
Very nice.
Yeah, we've started a whole travel tattoos thing. So that's been fun.
That's cool.
So I got the mug, I got the race weekend mug, and then I also got a race weekend, like the car magnet and a pin. And
I like the magnets and the pins, and those are like smaller, more affordable options when you're budgeting for Greece.
Well, that and they take up a lot less suitcase.
They do.
That's true. That's true.
And one thing I have recently seen, I tend to prefer the race shirts to the finisher shirts. The finisher shirts are almost always cotton, which I'm not really a big fan of cotton shirts. And and typically the design recently, I've liked the design of the shirts better for the races.
The races that are included in the race entry
included in your
fee.
race entry fee.
Yeah.
You're already getting a shirt for every race plus a challenge shirt and all that. Do you really need
another shirt?
I
don't know.
You know,
I guess if you just fell in love with it.
Right.
Or maybe it's your first one, or you want to wear it to the parks afterwards. Like
yeah.
Or you want to tempt fate and you want to wear the finisher shirt.
No way.
While you're running.
No.
Absolutely not.
There are people that do that.
Although I did see a lot of people wearing the shirts that you get with your registration during the races, which is interesting.
I've done that.
I saw a lot of people wear them.
Really?
We've done that.
Yes. Generally, we have done that in the past before we got into
podcasting.
Before we got into the podcast and before JoJo said, you want to wear a race skirt or a tutu or you want to do costumes, which leads me to ask you, did you run in any special costume gear? What did you do in terms of race outfits?
So I brought out my old Star Wars race costumes.
Nice.
And so obviously you guys know I'm a big Star Wars fan. I love doing the Star Wars races. I've did the dark side ones every year. I never made it out to California for the light side ones, which I'm kicking myself now, but it is what it is.
It was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. Don't rub it in more.
Bring them back. Bring them back. Anyway.
Oh gosh, yeah, please bring them back. So for the 10K, I wore my Mandalorian costume where I made a headband and I had one of the t-shirts that had the printed armor on it.
Okay.
And then I did the same thing, but with Boba Fett for the half marathon day. And then the 501st was actually out on the course in Anaheim they're bringing the Star Wars race weekends back. Of course, I got pictures of all of them. No, they're great. I love them.
They're great.
They're awesome. Yeah. Their stuff is incredible.
Their chapter out there is huge too. They've got a really big chapter.
501st is huge. It's so cool. I love that.
And it doesn't matter what the race theme is, they're out there. Which is awesome.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, the 501st is a charitable organization that does Star Wars themed costuming, and they do a lot of work for like children's hospitals. They bring some joy to kids when they need it the most. There's chapters all over the country.
Been cast in a couple Disney.
Yes,
I think they were in the Mandalorian.
They were in the Mandalorian. They actually had a scene where they needed a lot of stormtroopers, and they were like, "We don't have enough," and they put out a call to the 501st, and they all showed up.
It was like the season finale of the first season, right?
The big scene where Moff Gideon says, "You have something I want."
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was such a good episode too. I love that show. That was a great show.
I love it. And I love the themes of your costumes. Fabulous.
That's fantastic.
Fabulous.
So I want to tap into your professional opinion on what people should do when they're traveling out there to Disneyland, because if you're used to Disney World,
it's different.
It's a completely different experience, in my opinion.
Very different.
They're both great, just different.
They're very different. And I think that the way you tackle transportation and lodging is different for each one. So could you maybe give some tips and pointers to people who might be traveling to California for one of the Disneyland races? Because it's a completely different show than if you're going to Orlando.
True.
And then this year, because their start lines were actually in two different places. For example, the 5K start line was actually in Disneyland Park. And then the 10K and half start lines were outside the park on the eastern side over by the Good Neighbor hotels. Yeah, it was really different this year. So
that's what they did at the race we went to. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't do the 5K though, so that's interesting to know that it was inside the park, but the others were outside the park.
No.
So would you recommend somebody, like if you're going out there, should you rent a car or would they be okay with doing Uber or Lyft? What did you do and what would you recommend for people for transportation like that?
I think it just depends on what you want to do and see. If I just want to stay in Disneyland only, you don't need to rent a car. I just Ubered. I actually didn't. I stayed at the Grand Californian and I did not rent a car. I just took an Uber from the airport to the hotel. And then hotel back to the airport.
And which airport did you fly into? Did you do LAX or did you go to John Wayne? Or
I flew into LAX. I flew out of John Wayne.
Okay.
Interesting.
John Wayne, if you can get a flight in there, it's super convenient. And a lot of people really talk up
it's very close.
How close it is.
It's closer. Yeah. It's like maybe 20, 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Wow.
LAX is how we typically go. And it's a commitment. It's a distance, and if you don't get it at the right time of day, you got to fight that LA traffic.
You do.
Yeah. So I flew in late Thursday night.
Did you? Okay.
Thankfully, I had a direct flight from my home airport to LAX. That's why I flew into LAX.
And what was your home airport, just for everybody?
It's Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my home airport. I flew direct to LAX with JetBlue, which is really nice because it has the extra leg room for us taller folks.
Yeah. Ooh, yay.
Which is really nice. And then on my way home, I flew out of John Wayne, had a layover in MSP, and then back to home, which wasn't bad. That was fine. But I was also trying to not have a red-eye flight because I can't sleep on planes, which is really bad. No, it was fine. I flew, my first flight took off at 1:00 p.m. and I was fine. I made that no problem.
So those are some tips about airports that are excellent to keep in mind. And because when you are on a budget and you're shopping there's budgeting time and then there's budgeting money in terms of like layovers or when you have to be back at work and all of in terms of time and then the money. And I guess if you get into miles and with a certain
points
carrier
and that type of thing,
and what have you. So those are some good tips though about time. And if you're gonna stay in the Disneyland bubble, not needing the car, but if you want to go,
even if you stay at like a nearby good neighbor hotel, that'd be fine too. You might actually be a little closer to the start line for the 10.5. Which is kind of nice.
I would say because
we've not stayed on property, and we're very jealous of your Grand Floridian or Grand Californian stay. Sorry, I'm a little partial to Grand Floridian, but there are numerous hotels right in that neighborhood.
Yes,
we've stayed at the Hilton, literally
the Hilton
across
Anaheim,
the street.
the Hilton Anaheim, and that has been within walking distance to all of the different races that we registered for. But I want to know about the Grand Californian. Because is it the one that's out there that's like the Wilderness Lodge?
Wilderness Lodge, yep. It's very similar, but it's Wilderness Lodge is themed to the Yellowstone Lodge. This one is more themed for you're out in like Joshua Tree or Yosemite, like that sort of thing. So a little bit more California themed versus Midwest. But it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
I'm spoiled now, which is our problem. Sorry, honey. Sorry, husband.
Those are great hotels. I mean,
they are
either one, and they are beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and we went and we had drinks at the bar there.
Yes, we covered it on the show.
It was fantastic.
Fancy.
They were fancy, and I can't remember it now. It's escaping me. I haven't had enough caffeine to remember the name of the bar there.
We'll link to it in the show
several.
notes.
Yeah, but and I like that you can just be in that hotel and then like a legit entrance to the park is right there.
That was really a big game changer for me. So I did Disneyland Park by myself on Friday, and then I did California Adventure on Saturday. And Saturday is the day before the half. If I wanted to go back to my room, hotel, or the pool or whatever in the middle of the day because it was hot as heck, I could. And it was really easy and convenient, and I didn't have to walk 3 miles to get back to my hotel. So that was a big game changer for me.
Or deal with bus transportation or Uber, Lyft, taxi, whatever. Yeah.
It was so easy.
And you saved your legs.
Exactly. That was the big thing for me. But the expo was also at the Disneyland Hotel. So it's a little bit of a further walk. Grand Californian is going to be the closest closest Disney hotel to the parks. then it's Disneyland Hotel, then it's Pixar Pier. Pixar?
Paradise
Pixar
Pier.
Is it now
Oh,
Pixar?
Or Pixar.
Pixar.
Pixar?
Yes.
They were in the middle of...
They'd done the conversion when we were there last time.
But they had...
So many changes lately.
Yeah, but there was some kind of construction
they
going
were
on
doing
at
some
that
of the
hotel.
theming. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But...
And then I had some friends stay at the Disneyland Hotel, so I got to see what their new rooms over there look like, because they just added a whole new like towers and stuff. They're really pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
and you liked it? How did it compare to the Grand California?
I'd say it's like an upper. It's riding the line between a deluxe and a moderate, if you will. It has a nicer upscale deluxe feel to it, but it's more of a moderate price point in terms of, especially for Disneyland, because you know how expensive Disneyland can be.
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
So, but it was really pretty. I really like what they did with it, and I got to see their room too, which was really nice too. So,
Sounds like what they did at the Grand Casino.
Yeah, I was going to say, people,
tower.
like when you say riding the line between moderate and deluxe, the tower makes Coronado Springs feel like
Premium.
moderate lux. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I agree. I've stayed at the Grand Casino before. I've stayed at almost every Disney World before.
Oh.
I'm just missing the Poly, the Grand, and the Riviera for obvious reasons.
Yes, they are you celebratory or you're spoiling yourself reservations. Yeah.
Yeah, like actually pretty recently I booked a couple or a family because they're going to Disney World. They're staying at the Grand Floridian for a celebration of one of their family members' end of cancer treatments.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, my heart. So yeah, that was a cool in the book, and I'm really excited for their trip next year.
That's super cool.
It's so cool when you're passionate about Disney and then you can be like a travel agent that's going to recommend like here's a once in a lifetime celebration.
Oh no, they picked it. I didn't.
Oh really? But
they're like, I want to stay at the Grand. I said, okay, let's do it.
But I'm sure you've had people in the past that are like, okay, for the Disney races, let's say, for when you go to Disneyland versus Disney World, and what are the pros and cons for the runner?
Yep.
And for the people who are cheering on the runner. Like what, and we've talked about like the park entry from those hotels, but are there any other perks, like race day perks for the on property, like the Grand Californian or anything that they did no. Okay.
They had similar to Disney World where they had a whole like board where they had welcome runners. We have runner specific activities for you guys if you'd like. You don't have to if you don't want to, because we're all early or getting up early and are tired.
Yeah.
But they did have that. They didn't have any perks in terms of, because it's all walkable. They didn't have to worry about transportation, which is nice.
Right.
I've heard buses were available. I didn't use them. I just walked.
Because it was
fine.
close.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Issues.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if they had like carb loading meals that they highlighted and all of that, or if it was, since we've never stayed there. I mean, but yeah.
You'd mentioned that the expo was over at the Disneyland Hotel. So that seems to be just where they've decided that's going to be, because that's where it's always been when we've gone.
And it was smaller when we were there.
And the last time we went, it had definitely downsized. Can you talk a little bit about your expo experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the expo on Friday. I did not go on Thursday because I flew in on Thursday night. I think I landed around 11 o'clock or so p.m. West Coast time. So obviously the expo is closed, which is good and bad because I didn't really want to deal with first day of the expo chaos that it's been known to have.
Yes.
People swarm it for the merch. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no, I don't need to. I don't really need a whole lot of merch this time. That's fine. So I went on Friday. I went in the afternoon because it was just so hot and I wanted to get inside. Yeah. So I did that, and it was nice. It was in their ballroom conference area, which was really cool. They had plenty of staff around directing people where to go, plenty of signs. I didn't really get lost, which is great.
They've had big pickup in the past, like in the parking lower level.
In the garage.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they had it. And then this last time we were there, they had it on like the second level.
In a ballroom.
Where was it for you?
That's where they had it this time.
Okay. So
yeah,
they've
that was
kept
nice.
that. Yeah.
I think because, again, they saw the weather and said, no, let's do it inside. Plus, you don't want your volunteers sitting out in the sun like that.
It's a good way to not get as many volunteers the next year.
Yeah. So that was good. And it was pretty much, did they have a whole lot of vendors? I know you're always saying if you get out there.
I like to picture if I'm flying somewhere.
Utter disaster.
Complete chaos ensues and my bags get lost. Could I go there and get nutrition, hydration, and replacement shoes and all something to wear to run in? Would it have been, would I have been able to do that?
Yeah, they had a few different vendors who had that sort of thing. They had some running stores there. They had apparel, kind of everything you really needed.
Would you say this was again? I'm sorry, say that again.
It was just in case you forgot something, they had it, which is nice.
Good.
Would you say that how did this compare to the Disney World Race Expo?
Oh, it was infinitely smaller.
Okay.
But to be fair, Disney World has the whole ESPN Wide World of Sports complex where they can spread out and they can do things in multiple buildings and they can have a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Where Disneyland does not. They don't have that kind of space, but they make it work and they make it work really well.
Mm-hmm.
So like when the expo, I wasn't even in there for very long because it was so quick and easy.
Yeah.
And I find that's a lot easier too, because then you're not walking around as much. You're saving your legs a little bit more, which is nice.
Yep.
And you're still in the AC the whole time too, because it was hot. So that was really nice. I did enjoy the expo. It was smaller, but again, I saved my legs more. They still had all the merch. They still had a lot of vendors. So it still had the same Disney expo feel.
Yeah.
It just smaller scale.
Yeah. Smaller scale. And I think it's important for people to realize how much smaller Disneyland is.
It is so small.
All of Disneyland and California Adventure, I think, will fit in the footprint of Disney World. It's not nearly as big. And people don't realize that. If you grew up doing Disney World, you get out there, you're like, this is it? Like, yeah, it's all the same stuff.
Nestled in with neighborhoods all around.
But they are doing some big expansions according to their D23 announcement.
Yes.
Can't wait to see how that goes over there. Let's talk about race morning. I know I've delved into the expo and all of the lodging, and I'm still back on the
Grand Floridian or California.
Grand Californian. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. So race morning, what was that like for you?
I think because I didn't have to worry about getting on a bus, which was really nice, that kind of is a game changer for me. Mm-hmm. Like you're not, oh my gosh, I have to be on the first bus or I can't be on the last bus. There's no anxiety there, which was really nice. You just get up, get ready, get dressed, get your fuel if you need any, head out the door and walk to the start line.
Yeah.
It's pretty convenient. It's a lot easier, a lot less anxiety driven.
Yeah.
That was really nice. It is a bit of a walk. Think like if you've ever done Princess, where it's the walk from the buses where they drop you off to the start line. It's far. Mm-hmm. I think I didn't clock it or anything, but I think it was probably around 3/4 of a mile or so.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah.
And that's for you're talking about the walk to the start line for the 10K and the half. You said that
they started at the same spot.
Right.
Those two started at the same spot. Yeah.
But the 5K started in the park.
They started in the Disneyland park, which is really cool. I was kind of jealous I didn't get into that, but that's okay. I know.
How was the corral placement in the 10K and the half? Were you in what corrals were you in?
I was in F for both races. For the 10K specifically, they did corrals A through F. And then for the half, they did corrals A through I. And they did not break up the corrals like they do for Disney World, where they said B1, B2, B3.
Mini waves. No.
Just B. Just C. That's how they shot them off. They shot them off every 5 minutes or so, give or take.
And how was the communication? Did you have audio back there in the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. They had plenty of lighting and speakers and whatnot, so we could still hear.
Sounds like they corrected that.
That's an improvement.
That sounds like an improvement. Yeah. How was the security situation when we were there for the half? That they really, to be honest, they dropped the ball. The first day they had the metal detectors set up, and then it just
was a lot.
They were walking bomb sniffing dog in the crowd, and it was very haphazard. There were some things that just from a
they didn't have
professional-
enough. They didn't have as many as they needed in terms of detectors. And
created a
line
huge
setup.
bottleneck and created a big delay getting people in and getting the corral ready to go. So how did that go?
That was fine for me. So any Disney hotel, if you stayed at any Disney hotel, you had to go through security. You had to go through downtown Disney first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had to go through security again to get into the corral starting area. And both were fine. I didn't wait very long for the first one. There was a little bit of a line just because of the number of people staying there, and they only have 2 security points. That 5 minutes maybe.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quick to go into downtown Disney, and then walking through the main entrance areas was fine. And then they had more security over by the start lines. You had to go through to the starting area and corrals. There was plenty of security there. I had no issues. I don't even think there was a line for me when I went through them. Which is nice.
Good.
That's good.
That's good to hear.
I think they probably took a lot of that feedback because we weren't the only ones talking about that. That was all over social media last time.
They were just trying to feel out and get a cadence, and it sounds like that they did. They got a lot of data that they could take back and improve between January and September.
Yeah.
Because this is, what was it, the Labor Day weekend that the races took place?
Weekend after.
Weekend after. So, yeah. So you don't have to combat the Labor Day vacationers. That's a good tip too. Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like the security was, and you heard the announcers so that you knew in your corral. So that's good.
Yeah, there was no issue there. It was weird for me though, because I'm typically not in the last corral normally. So that was odd for me going into that 10K, just because when I got running, I didn't really have a chance to stretch my legs because the course was so crowded at that point.
True.
Okay.
We've experienced that.
And I was
10, this is just for the 10K, not the half, just the 10.
Okay, so this was going to lead me to some questions since we're talking about improvements from January to now. We had
that was good improvement.
What was?
Security.
Security
was great.
sounds like they fixed that. We had issues on that one with water stops, huge bottlenecks, literally coming to a dead standstill. I had video just standing. Did that improve? What was your experience there?
No,
it didn't. It didn't
sadly,
improve. Oh
no, especially the first water stop during the 10K. To your point, it came to a dead stand. Dead
oh
stop.
No.
But at least with the 10K, I wasn't worried about my time.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Perfect.
So that was fine.
Perfect
But to your point, it wasn't the only water stop that had issues. So the first one was the worst.
In the 10K.
In the 10K. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. All I know is there's a herd of people in front of me. I need to stop.
Yeah.
And I was actually carrying my running water bottle with me for both races. So I tried not to stop as much.
Smart.
And that way you have your nutrition with you if you need any, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to wait to a water stop to get something if you need it. That's what I like to do. Obviously, you don't need to do that if you don't want to. But
and in this case, if you are experiencing those stoppages, then you don't have to worry about, because you can take the nutrition in them when I don't know, the crowds or the seas
when
part,
it starts to
then
part.
you can go catch up.
Yeah, they had issues, I think, not only with not having the water ready and being able to keep up with the pace, but they also chose some odd choke points at which to do it last time, which I don't know what they were thinking.
So I don't know if it was small or if the water wasn't prepared, or you experienced both in that bottleneck.
I think it was a little bit of both, especially in the first one. The course got really narrow right beforehand. And then the first water stop, I think, again, because it's been so long since they've had their last race weekend. It's been, almost 7 years now? Yeah, so it was November 2017. So it's been a while since they've had a race weekend. These volunteers, they don't know what's going on. This is their second race weekend they've had, and it's been at least, 8 months since the last one?
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's only so much they can do.
Yeah, we talked about that. They lost a lot of the institutional knowledge of the Run Disney folks who moved on or moved out to other opportunities in that 7-year time frame. And then when they brought them back, they were essentially starting fresh. And they've made some changes that I think they're still having, sounds like they're still having some logistical challenges.
Yeah. Because did you find that
they were, what the volunteers were doing in the water stops, I noticed was interesting. They had the single serve water bottles that you can buy in the park, like the bottled water. Mm-hmm. They were filling the cups with those instead of a bigger jug or something, which was like, that's interesting.
That's strange.
Yeah. I was like, you guys need something bigger. Mm-hmm. You know?
I'm like, where are your coolers? Where are your...
Exactly. Yeah, like they do in Disney World, where they have the big, giant coolers. They're just cup.
And then they have pitchers for people. And then they had people downstream, I guess, with water bottle, the bottles for refill.
To refill your water
which
bottle.
Was what I needed. I didn't want to grab a cup from somebody else who needed it. I had my bottle.
Exactly.
Bottle refill.
Yeah. And you noticed that on the half as well? Like a standstill at the first one, or?
It was because I was seated in a different or a better corral for the half. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't a standstill for the first one. I was able to keep moving, which is nice. I did skip it just because I had my bottle and I was like, all right, because of the weather too, I wanted to push a little bit harder and get more miles in before the heat really kicked in.
Done, yeah.
I tried to push it a little bit more before the sun came up.
And you've mentioned the weather a few times. So for the listeners, let them know, what were the conditions like on the course?
Hot. So very hot. So Friday morning, the morning of the during the day, the high for the day got up to 109 degrees Fahrenheit. And every day that weekend reached over 100 degrees. The humidity wasn't bad. I did check my app just for fun, and it was in the 30 percentile range-ish. So it wasn't terribly humid. And then I checked Florida's just for comparison. The Florida at the time in Disney World area was in the 60 to 70 percentile range.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't as humid, which is nice, but it was hot. So very hot. Yeah, it was toasty.
So you have to make
that's
sure.
Why I tried to, I had to adjust a little bit there. So I took the 10K a little bit slower, but the half in the morning, especially where before the sun came up, I tried to push it and get some more miles in before the sun came up.
Not as many. I don't know. Do you do character stops at this one? Did you?
I did not. Again, just because it was
so
the
hot.
Weather. I was like, I didn't want to chance it. But the lines for the character stops were pretty short. I was very surprised. Which is really nice. How in Disney World you see these giant character lines.
Sure.
Those are long. But no, these were really short, honestly, which is, I think...
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And people were moving pretty quickly, too. And they didn't really spend too much time in there.
Good.
Like, I'd see somebody in line, and then maybe a couple minutes later, I'd see them going. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Great.
That's really great. Very efficient. Yeah.
And did you
I think the runners had their stuff together too.
Did they have enough or good quality character stops? Were you some stuff that you thought was pretty cool?
Oh yeah, they had some really good ones. I forgot which race they had, but they had Luca and what his friend's name is. So they had Luca characters. They had Mr. Fredrickson was out. They had a bunch of really good ones. They had Mei Ling from Turning Red. A lot of different like Pixar ones, which was really fun. They had some good character stops.
Good.
I love Pixar. Yeah. I want a Big Hero 6.
So they did have water stops. Any nutrition stops, or was there any on-course nutrition, or was it just not something you were worried about because you had your own?
I did stop for. They had sport beans, the Jelly Belly sport beans. So I grabbed a couple of those. I like to have extra nutrition on hand just in case. Or if I see a runner on the side of the road, hey, you need anything? Here you go. I have something.
Oh,
you never know.
Yeah.
So it's always best to be safe and sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like sport beans.
And pay it forward. Yeah.
Easy on the tummy.
Yeah.
And in that heat, you have to have electrolytes. You have to have the salt. You have to have,
Yep. I think I refilled so I typically during a half marathon will fill I'll start off with a bottle with a noon tablet. So I'll start a half with my bottle filled with a noon tablet, and then I'll typically refill it once during a half. During this half, I refilled it, I think, 3 times.
Wow.
I was not messing around with this heat.
Yeah. And your pre-race, like your carb loading, I imagine was like, let's get some salt in there. Let's get some carbs in there so that you have the fuel.
Yeah. So the night before the half, I went to the PIM test kitchen in California Adventure. That was really cool.
That's a neat place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had the chicken sandwich where the chicken patty is like this big and the bun's like this big.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really cute. And then it came with tater tots too. So I got my salt in and everything.
That was
really good.
I was actually looking at Noon to see about their salt content.
Oh, you were?
That one.
Is that what you were looking at? I was like, what on? Because he's so, he just doesn't like it.
There.
We've experienced training in the heat here.
Yes.
Real bad cramping from time to time.
Oh.
So looking like I would be willing to give them a try again, but I've started using, and not a sponsor of the show, Element, LMNT.
You like that?
I like that. It's got a higher salt or sodium and magnesium content.
Really?
Gotcha.
Which
I didn't know that.
I do, but
it helps your stomach.
It doesn't hurt it.
Yeah, if it doesn't hurt it, exactly.
I don't know that it helps, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't hurt it.
And I was going to ask, our experience with October Disney races here, back when we go back to the Tower of Terror 10 miler, when they used to host that.
So humid.
It was awful here.
Yeah.
The heat caused so many people to drop out and have to get medical. Were you seeing that out there with the heat that you were experiencing?
Thankfully, no, I really didn't. I only saw maybe one person trip because they have these little reflective markers for the lane markers.
Oh, those things are dangerous.
Yes.
But they only tripped over that like that, and then they got up almost immediately and kept going. Okay. I think that was it, really, that I saw. I didn't see anybody really need medical, which was good.
Yeah.
That was good to not see, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And how were the pacers? Did you run into pace groups? Were they pretty well, like you didn't encounter any bottlenecks because of that or like that?
So the thing about pace groups, they're a love-hate for me. The pacers are always so nice. They're so kind. They are always telling jokes and like keeping spirits up and stuff. They're wonderful humans and I love them.
Yeah.
The people following them are not.
The people following them don't know like the etiquette, the race etiquette for that.
And the pacers, they definitely try. And they're like, if you're going to walk, please keep to the right. If you're going to run, keep to the left. But stick 2 by 2 if possible, which is great. And we certainly appreciate that. But people don't always either listen or know. So it tends to be a herd of people following the pace group. And it can really cause bottlenecks.
Especially in the narrow areas.
Yeah. Which is a pain. But other than that, those pacers are wonderful. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I think Chris Twiggs and his crew and how they post the pace groups and what they're going to do, the ratios before the race and in Runcation Nation on Facebook.
On our Facebook group.
Yep. I love that. So that
they're wonderful.
You can see what the ratios are more often than not, because I do some odd ratios of running and walking. I can't stay with pace groups.
Yeah, because you'll do shorter intervals.
Yeah.
At maybe the same ratio, but your interval is different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if it works for you.
Yeah. You do what works for you, but it's good to know that there are pace groups out there for first timers that are like nervous or flying solo and they may need a group and they just got to follow the etiquette. If you're running, then on the left, if you're walking on the right, and 2 by 2 is always. And you have to navigate some tight corners and tight spaces.
And can I just say that maybe a Run Disney race is not the place for you to go to try to PR.
We always say it happens.
But there's always that one super serious runner who's just, they're ready to throw elbows and hip check a kid to get that PR. And you're right in the middle of Main Street. And you're like, maybe this isn't the race to do that at.
No.
There's people in costume. There's things to see. There are
PR and fun.
Yes. Yeah. As the legendary Bill Stewart says. PR
and fun. Exactly. That's it. So you did the 10K, you did the half. What was the finish line experience like for you?
Finish line was pretty typical Disney finish line.
Did you get a selfie with Carissa or
I
John?
got a high five with Carissa.
Got a high five. Nice.
And then Jeff Galloway was at the finish of the half as well, giving out high fives and pictures and whatnot too.
That was
really cool. He's wonderful. I love him.
I love it. He's so positive and motivating, and he's so supportive of anybody trying to get it done.
Yeah, he's wonderful. I love Jeff.
Yeah.
But after both the 10 and half, they had cooling towels at the end. So they had, so that was really nice.
For the heat.
And then you got your metal and you got your water, your Powerade and all that stuff. So that was
and the box.
normal.
The box was their cheese.
Plastic cheese?
Yep. Plastic cheese, but they had pretzels this time and not chips.
Pretzels?
I was like, yeah. Instead of the tortilla chips.
Nobody needs that negativity.
You need the salt from the
pretzels have salt.
I know you need the salt,
but I feel
you
like
need the chips and not pretzels to dip them.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yeah,
right. They were, if they're the pretzels, were they like the sticks or were they like the curlicue ones? That's difficult. You can't get in there.
It's harder to deliver the cheese to your mouth.
You need the better delivery vehicle, and I feel like you have the higher salt content.
Those are some salty chips.
In the chips,
the ones they normally have are salty.
Yeah, they are salty.
Just
but you need them.
Yeah.
And then, they taste great in that parking lot after that race.
They do. Mm-hmm. They hit the spot.
So I was going to ask, on this race course, did this one take you on the half course? Did you end up going out through Angel Stadium or just by Angel Stadium?
No, so this time we went through it. It was really cool. So what was it?
That's my preferred version of the course.
Yeah. I'm so sad. So sad. And so happy for you. Happy for you.
So the first 5 miles or so were through the parks and backstage. And then after that, you went to the streets of Anaheim. And then I think it was around mile 10 and a half-ish to 11. You ran through you ran the stadium.
Right.
So you hit the parking lot, which really felt like was their beach parking lot. And then you went to the stadium. And you had everybody on the Jumbotron, and you were on the warning track and everything. It was really cool. I actually really liked that. I wish I had that sooner in the course because some of those miles were really hot.
Mm-hmm. And the miles leading up to to Angel Stadium, some of those are pretty straight and flat. They're paved.
So you can spread out.
Assuming that they kept it on some of those same surface streets. Yeah. So sounds like they did.
Yeah.
There was one spot, which I think is a concern, especially for our AWD friends and our Roll Disney athletes friends, where they were doing some construction on a rail trail, like a rail trail type of thing, bike trail. So it wasn't paved at the time. And there was a really sharp switchback.
Ooh.
Yes.
So you started going down onto this dirt pathway, and then there's a really sharp switchback, but still going downhill, which is really concerning for anybody in a wheelchair, hand cycle. That's dangerous because if you miss that turn,
right? Because it's a bit of a drop.
Exactly.
And yeah, they had that portion of the course, I think, on the same one from January.
Yeah.
And then it takes you along that. It ends up turning into a mixed use path.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So it's the same one.
Oh.
So
other than that, though, it's pretty flat, uneventful.
Good.
Good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So we talked about the finish line experience. I'm sure there were characters that in the after party where you could get pictures. Mm-hmm. No characters.
I didn't see any, but I had to go around and catch a flight, so I didn't really stay too long for after the half.
Yeah. Okay. The cheese and the pretzels.
You got to have that.
Okay, but there?
But that's not the food and drink experience we're looking for, though.
No, I feel like we should talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Where do you go to have a celebratory meal after these races? Where are you going to go?
So after the 10K, me and a bunch of my buddies actually went to Goofy's Kitchen.
Goofy?
Big breakfast buffet. Mickey, who was it? It was Mickey, Minnie, Chip, Dale, and Goofy.
Oh, characters for character folks?
Things like Chef Mickey's, but Goofy's Kitchen and Chip and Dale instead of Donald Daisy.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
so nice big breakfast buffet. Everybody had mimosas. That was great.
Mimosa.
Definitely a good one after the race. And then there's another one at Grand Californian called Storytellers Cafe. Mm-hmm. Similar characters, but in different setting.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had the Mickey waffles, the eggs, the bacon, sausage.
And I heard mimosas in there.
And I heard, standard orange juice mimosas, or did they vary it up?
They had the standard ones, and they had a couple other flavors, but then they had a mimosa flight that one of my friends got. And so there was like one with pomegranate juice and a couple other different juices, which were quite yummy.
Delightful.
Very nice.
Very good.
Disney does know how to do a variety of mimosas. We've had them at a couple of Disney locations of varying juice varieties. And
yes.
Yeah, they know what they're doing there.
Ooh.
So are we going to call that the drink of choice to celebrate your
Mimosa
finish there? Your mimosa?
Is the drink of choice.
That's your celebratory beverage?
so.
I love it.
Caffeine and mimosa, of course. But yeah.
Ah, yes. It's necessary.
It's vitamin C.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to go with it. It's a healthy thing.
It's fine.
It's healthy? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you did not escape to any off-property options when it comes to like food and beverage. You remained in the bubble.
Yeah,
Nice.
This trip I stayed in the bubble.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And so we
There's
have,
so many
really
good options
fun
in such a small footprint.
I know. And we have now 2 options that we haven't been to.
Yeah.
That we need to.
So after the race, would
Explore.
I would do either of those 2 character breakfasts for after the races.
Yeah. You haven't been to any other Disneyland races?
I've been to one. And it was the Avengers 10K back in 2017.
And how does that compare?
To be fair, I stayed off property that time, and I had a friend staying with me. So it's just been so long.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
And I do miss the Avengers theme. That was a lot of fun. I hope they bring that back, especially with their whole Avengers campus that they have now.
I know.
It's really cool.
It seems like a missed opportunity if they don't do that.
Yeah.
Same with the Star Wars Galaxy Edge.
Star Wars, Pixar.
Yeah, they did all these cool things.
Don't even get me started on the Star Wars. Don't get me started on the Star Wars races, not running you through Star Wars land.
I'm right there with you, Dana.
You got to do it.
Right there with you.
Come on. So then where are you, first of all, where are you accomplishing, exploring, and indulging next? We know you're going to Greece, but in terms of races, what do you have upcoming?
Oh, I have my next big race is Marine Corps.
Ooh.
Oh, October, the end of October.
The 27th.
I hope you have better weather at Marine Corps than you had out there in California.
And it's
I
a
hope so too.
marathon or half marathon?
Marathon.
Yeah. Ooh, that has some cutoff points and things like that.
Yeah, time limit.
But I really do want to be someday. We've had that Runcation recap on here where Tanya talked about the penguin, the last person in the race being the one that the last finisher that can stay on pace gets the penguin.
Yeah.
I would love to be that person.
That's so cool.
I want to be that person.
What if they have multiple? There's a line of them or 3, you know? I don't
It's a
know.
good
That'd be
question.
interesting.
It's a good question. If you see that at your race experience,
Questions.
please report back to us.
I will, because I'm also a back of the Packers. So.
And where can members of the Runcation Nation connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest. My running Instagram / normal lifestyle Instagram is ecofit13, ECOFIT13. And then my travel Instagram is EmilyO_KTTW travel.
And we will link to both of those in the show notes. So if you're looking for booking that runcation, Emily can help you out.
Yay!
Emily, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode. Congratulations on completing this race weekend. I am jealous because it's a new race and that bling looks awesome. So
yeah, they did a great job with it.
Thank you for coming on and thank you for being part of the Runcation Nation.
Oh,
thanks for having me.
Emily can engineer a great runcation for runners in the Runcation Nation. So we hope to hook up with you to accomplish, explore, and indulge really soon.
Thanks, guys.
That's a wrap. So thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you are. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.